Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're here with Susan Hearn from Choosing Options, Honoring Options, as well as Amanda Morgan, a critical care nurse at Three Rivers Medical Center. Ladies, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, so Susan, let's start with you. Tell us about Choosing Options, Honoring Options. What do you guys do there?
Well, Choosing Options, Honoring Options is a nonprofit group that we call it KOHO, so people may know us by our acronym. And our goal is twofold: to both educate the community at large about the importance of having conversations with their loved ones about their end-of-life care wishes, and then also to educate our medical providers on how to honor those wishes once they're documented. So we help people have those conversations with their doctors, with their families, with their loved ones, and then document them in advance directives.
Okay, and Amanda, you're, I believe, on the ethics committee at Three Rivers as well as being a critical care nurse. Why do you think it's important to have the conversations about the care wanted at the end of life? Oh,
it's so essential. You know, there's so many examples that I can think of where it made the experience in the hospital so much different. So. Being able to know what your family wants at the end of life is so important, and being able to honor those wishes.
And it's, Susan, I imagine it's difficult to plan for everything, correct? So what do you think people should know about making these plans, or how to go about this process?
Well, the planning part is just a small portion of it. Really, it's about identifying people that will speak on your behalf if you're unable to speak for yourself, which actually happens about 70% of the time at the end of life when a care decision needs to be made. And so that's identifying the healthcare representative. And the second part is to identify what care you wish to have and not wish to have in terms of more life support and tube feeding requests. Comfort and symptom management on all of those kinds of care is provided. But this is not an easy conversation to have, and people are very uncomfortable with it. And what happens when families do discuss their end-of-life wishes openly in advance of a situation where they can't communicate for themselves is that the person, the surrogate decision maker, has a great deal more comfort in making that decision, and they're not filled with guilt or insecurity about their decision making, and it makes for a better experience for the whole. Yeah,
it's certainly difficult enough. All right, very good. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll have much more in a moment. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Amanda Morgan, a critical care nurse at Three Rivers Medical Center, and Susan Hearn from KOHO, Choosing Options, Honoring Options. So, Amanda, let me start with you here. What happens in the hospital when these end-of-life care conversations and advance directives are not made and it's not clear for these families? And kind of tell us about the contrast between the two.
So in the hospital, they're always going to be a full code if we don't know what their wishes are, which means we'll do everything, intubate them, do CPR, compressions and shocking, and then the wishes of from then on, what happens if they don't get better goes to the next of kin, whether it be the husband, the wife, the child, whether or not they're, I've had a patient that their next of kin was a son that was only 20 years old and had to make a really hard decision on taking their mother off of life support. And it's very sad, but there's also great examples where the family has talked to their kids and their spouses about what they want at the end of life, and sometimes it's just clarity of mind and being able to communicate, and when they can't do that anymore, the family steps in and says, okay, that's enough, and we don't want any more life-sustaining treatment. We don't want to be on life support. He just wants to be comfortable and be at home with their family. Yeah,
it's certainly a difficult enough process, and anything we can do to make it easier at the end. So tell us about this 4-part series, Susan. What are the topics being offered, and when is this?
Okay, well, we're offering 3 more topics. This Thursday, they're going to be talking about patterns of decline. We have Dr. Murray speaking about old age and the decline process of old age. Dr. Bradley Personius is speaking about heart disease. Dr. Rebecca Hutchinson will be speaking about palliative care, and Dr. Sue Kohler will be speaking about cancer. So not only are our cultural beliefs and our personal beliefs about life support need to be taken into consideration and discussed, but also different diseases behave differently at the end of life, and it's important to understand that. So that's the topic for this Thursday. It's at the Center for Outpatient Health. It's the brand new building on the 4th floor on the Three Rivers Medical Center campus in Grants Pass, and it's being offered at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Okay.
So that's the 30th of October. And then the next one will be November 13th, and that is actually an original play called Whose Death Is It Anyway? And it characterizes the experience of a healthcare representative when her mother can't speak for herself, and how complex that role can sometimes be. So it really brings that to light and the importance of that role. And then on November 20th, we actually have a workshop. It's an advanced directive workshop, and it is for people to individually bring their advanced directives to us, and we meet in small groups and can answer personal questions. Because a lot of people say, I've thought about, I actually have the form, but they haven't complete the advanced directive. And so that's what we'll be accomplishing on that date. All of them will be offered at the same place and at 2 p.m. to capture the people who don't like to drive at night, and
Sure.
7 p.m. for the working folks.
All right, very good. Well, ladies, thank you both so much for being here and tell us about it. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.